9:01. I can't tell if that's on or not.
Did you get a light?
I think it is. So,
There it is. Okay, we have the meeting, the minutes from June 8th and the 13th.
which were extremely long, I'm so
Did
sorry.
you get a chance to read the novels?
Which one?
Both of them,
Yeah,
the 8th and the July 13th.
I forget which one that it is. It's talking about the Union Cemetery. There's
Yeah.
some comment that I supposedly made that I didn't think needed to be in
That would
there.
have been the 13th.
Which one is that, the 13th or the 8th?
The
Eighth,
first
I
one that you sent.
The 8th?
Yeah.
Do you know where it was, Cindy?
Down near,
Uh,
I'm not really sure
The Union Cemetery one?
where that's
Isn't it?
mentioned, yeah.
It was
Uh,
on
when,
the eighth.
when they break 4 pages, they,
Okay, what did
they all blur together.
what did I do with
Now,
what you
Pleasant
just gave me?
Cemetery. Was it in, when we had Link here?
So I'm looking through
No,
quickly.
I think it's the first one. It's the one before that, I believe. Whichever one you sent us first. Was that
Oh, that,
July?
oh, I don't know.
Can we table that to you?
yeah.
Yeah, so you find it.
What about the 13th? Do we want to just do the both of them at the end?
We'll do both of them at the end.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we have an email from Phoebe Plank on the
Yeah,
group
so,
service projects.
so each year, AmeriCorps sends out to all of the people who want to have group service projects completed by AmeriCorps as a group, not just our member who will be getting shortly, for us to put in, and there is several different projects that I want to do. I want to do the split rail fence that connects the current section of Island Pond down into the conservation parcel, so that's one of them. And then remember up at the top, we looked at doing another split rail fence up at the top? And then I want to do the native species garden. So those 3 projects, those are at Island Pond. They have in the past come and cleaned up Evergreen. I wouldn't mind them coming back and doing all of the invasives that go through the rows at the old section. You know where I'm talking, Cindy? The 137 side. So there's a lot of rows in there, and they could limb up the trees and do all of that stuff and do some pruning around there. But I didn't know if there was any other projects that you guys would be interested in.
What about the, you're moving the path, the Island Pond path?
Yeah.
Do we need steps on that?
So
or
I'm meeting with
ties?
I'm gonna be meeting with Amy Yuzowski, and I have to go out there with the Conservation Commission. I'll let you know when I'm on the agenda, but I'm doing 2. One's for the Lily Pond and one is for the pathway going down. And they will meet us out there if you guys wanna come to that meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And tell us what exactly we need to do in order to make that project
And the
happen.
new path is gonna be down towards the front where it's a shallower.
Yeah, so the grade isn't so steep. So those are
There's
the.
probably rules on the step and stuff.
Right. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that we put it in for because their work order system fills up for AmeriCorps. So I give them all of the work orders now. The kids don't start, or the young adults, I'm sorry. They don't start for another 3 weeks. So once they start, they go to training. They do fire training, invasive species, and all sorts of other training that they have. And then we'll get our member after that. So it's gonna be here before you know it, but I just wanted to put in, and I didn't know if there was any other projects that you guys could think of. I mean, we're going over to Mount Pleasant after this meeting to look at that lot. And while we're in Mount Pleasant, we could come up with another additional thing. There are a lot of invasives in there, especially around quite a few of the lots there, so we can take a look at that.
Okay, email from Megan Elgin on the training.
So we're all gonna do combines training, which helps us with procurement. And they sent it out to all of the department heads before Griffin Ryder, who was our engineer, who now is, I think he's with the town of, is he with Brewster? I don't know. He left the town of Harwich, but he used to be the procurement, him and Megan were the procurement team. Now they want us all to be trained, every department head, so that we are able to do our own procurement. I don't know if they're hiring another engineer, but my training is next Tuesday, I believe, the 14th. So I'm already signed up and I'm ready to go on that.
Sounds good. And that should make things go a little bit smoother maybe.
Yeah, and then it'll just make us familiar with all the different things that we have to have in place.
Then an email from Terry Ford on the Rock of Ages Veteran Memorial Circle flagpole.
Yes. So, on the second page, I think you guys all have your photo. So I had sent them, the flagpole holder that was in Waltham. And, after I had talked to, TJ Rebello, he told me that, he also does this type of work, but he says you should probably just go to the source. They're the ones who make all of this stuff, so just go to the source and they ship them. So, they actually did this one. They have the template for it, as you may realize. I don't have it. And so they did give us a price quote for the piece. It is all, so here it is. So if you look at the thing, it's Barry Gray granite. The finish is just a regular finish on it. It is 6 feet across, 6 by 6 by 2, and then it roughly weighs 8,000 pounds. To deliver it from Barry, Vermont to Evergreen is approximately $500. They'll give us a set price. But he says that's pretty close to it.
That sounds reasonable for shipping something that heavy.
Yeah. And then the cost of the actual base that the American flag was set on would be $12,336. When I had sent information out to Crosby and to TJ Rebello, they both quoted me closer to $20,000 for that piece. So, I mean, it is, if we go directly to the manufacturer, it's definitely going to be a lot cheaper. So, I didn't know how you guys felt, if you wanted to proceed with this.
Do we have the money in our account to just go ahead?
Oh, yeah, we definitely do. So I think in there right now is 90,000 something, so I can get the exact balance for you guys.
Well, I mean, this is something we have to do because that's
That has to
the
go in
centerpiece
first.
flag. And,
Right,
And as long as this is substantial for hurricane resistance as much as we can,
yep.
then I move that we accept the proposal from Rock of Ages.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did they say when they
So-
might be able to do it?
So, right now, they're a little, once I put in the order for it, they think it probably wouldn't be ready until probably January. But we have to pour a footing and all of that stuff. I don't know if we want to prep it before the ground freezes or whatever, but I'll talk to Link.
Well, the dimensions should be included or as part of the
Right.
workup so that
We have to
it
have
is
the-
a delivery drop in place.
Yeah, because they'll bring a crane, so
We
they,
have to have the wiring in for the lights.
yeah. So, I talked to Sean Libby this morning, he was in the building here, and he's talking to Link this morning about, talking about the trenching and the electrical, bids and stuff like that. So I will get all that information. I need it for the CPC because I have a meeting with them on Thursday. I have to give them an update on Wednesday, so I'll have all that stuff by the end
That's
of
part of your
probably.
letters for the CPC.
Yeah, we have to give them an updated letter for their next meeting.
But this, who's putting in the flagpoles? The company that we,
So we originally went out and we got a quote from Hamco, which is
Yeah.
a year and a half old. I'd like to get 3 price quotes for that, and I think that it's fiscally responsible, so I will be going out to.
but they're installing, not
They,
just
yeah, they install.
for your flagpoles.
No. Whatever company they install, they'll be putting in their own footing. So when I talked to Hamco, they would have to put in something before the cement foundation
Right.
goes in, their anchors, and then all that stuff will be done in a process. So the first thing that goes in is whatever flagpole company gets it, will put in their foundation where their flags will sit in. And then the next would be the cement that would be underneath the pedestal for the American flag. And on the other ones, it would be the granite that would go underneath. And then they would all be installed on top of that.
So it's a repairable system and not something
Correct.
that has to be
Right.
destroyed in case it gets snapped in half with
Whatever.
something that comes up
Comes
the
through.
coast.
Correct.
Now, in the future planning of this, should these rings be the same granite as the base?
They're not in that one, so we are gonna have the gray granite, and that is just, it doesn't, it's made out of two different kind of materials, so that,
So it's two different granites?
yeah.
Because I didn't know if it was worthwhile talking to those people also.
I think we could
about
talk to them
those.
as well about the rings, so as soon as Paul Sweetser gets me the dimensions, because he's working on those plans right now, if he gets me those, then we can ask them, and when they deliver that, they could deliver it at the same time.
All the rings and everything will be the same shades or even
Yeah.
the same kind of material.
Right.
Nice. Very good. And now an email from Jan Moore.
So that's what I was just explaining to you. So the CPC is having a meeting, and so on Wednesday, no later than 4, actually tomorrow, I have to give them 10 copies of a one-page report talking about our 2 articles that are open, which is the 2020 Article number 30, the Pine Grove Gravestone Conservation Preservation Project, and then the 2021 Article number 29, the Veterans Memorial Circle Project. So I did email Mike at the Village Green, who received the bid for the Pine Grove project, and I'm waiting for him to respond when they're going to be starting. They're just finishing up on his last job. And then the Veterans Memorial Circle we just went over, so I'll get that information from Lincoln, and I'll complete that letter and send it in. This is my rough draft of it, so I included, this is what I'm saying so far. So as soon as I get the information from Mike from the Village Green, I'll let them know when, it said, right now it says should be starting in this fall, but hopefully he'll give me a date. And then this, the cemetery administration working with Sean Libby at Facilities on the electrical and trenching bits, so. And then I did put down our next year's articles, so they'll know, which are due in October 1st, which will be here before you know it.
Wow, that'll be, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be scrambling on those. I am compiling all the rest of my veterans, trying to put them in alphabetical order, and just cross-referencing and getting those ready. And I'll try to get a couple bids on those as well for the Civil War and Revolutionary War soldiers. Busy month.
Yes, it is. An email from Melody Massey on her family plot in Pine Grove.
Yeah, so I get these emails a lot, and she's just doing her pre-planning. I just want you guys to know the process that goes into this. So I have to go down, and as you see, I took a picture of the lot, and then I survey where all the burials are, and then I make them a lot layout. So in the lot layout, then I sent it to her. She is going to be buried in this lot. So then it just shows you the open spaces that she can use. And she can just send this off to her funeral home or whoever's doing her pre-planning, and then we have it in the file. We oversee a lot of cemeteries that didn't give us, when we got Pine Grove, it only came with a card that just said, this burial took place on this date, but no information like this, no lot layouts. So every time we have a burial there, we have to do this in order for the burial to go in. And I do this first round, and Jim goes down and probes and confirms that the graves are actually in those grave spaces and not somewhere else. So that way we obviously don't want to dig up the wrong grave, and just makes it simpler for everyone.
So can they still use 7, 8, and 9? They would have
They
to-
can't, so if they were
would
gonna
have to
do
move that
cremate,
big stone?
they could either move the big stone, or a lot of people are doing cremations now, so most of the time they'll use those ones for cremation lots, and if they're doing traditional burials, they use the ones that are kind of open for traditionals.
An email from Kay Benarock,
Yeah, so,
Planting Around Memorial.
yeah, so her husband Thomas died about a year or so. And this is, I took a picture of the lot just to show you. And she wants to just plant lilies around the front. So this is, in I'm gonna have to tell her to be really condensed in this particular cemetery. Really, nobody in this particular cemetery has a lot of shrubs. This is at the South Harwich Meeting House. And we just want them to stay uniform. This cemetery is a very historic cemetery, and we wanted to keep the historic feel. So I just wanted to put that in there for you, so she can plant lilies or whatever she wants to do in front of the grave. But I just want to show you that.
Now, don't we have restrictions on how far she can go in the
Yeah,
rules?
yeah. And we don't want to do any curbing, so I'll reach out to her and let her know that they have to be flush up to the monument. They can't be away from the monument and stuff like that.
And an email from Nancy Jones on her parents' lot in Mount Pleasant Cemetery.
So this has been a long going, and I included all of this original emails that she sent to me. And then my conversation. So I'll read you her first email. My parents, the Brocks, grave sites in Mount Pleasant, graves 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Oak Avenue between 4th and 5th in Harwich Port. And she says her entire cemetery is just dirt. The problem, each time the adjacent lot, the Ryan lot, had a burial opened. And she named a funeral home, but that was not the funeral home that actually took care of those burials. That dirt was placed on the graves. So I put the whole lot layout so you guys would have both of the their lot and then the Ryan's lot side by side, because she was naming them. So the 2 burials on the Ryan lot took place in 2005 and then 2015.
So they're buried between the two.
Yeah, so they are straddled. They bought 3 grave spaces and they're buried between the 2. And then her parents are on 4 and 5.
And then they also own 9, 10, because she says here 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's.
Oh, yeah, so that's incorrect. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Okay, and then they 1, 2, 3 in this. Okay, so anyways, if you look at the lot, you can see the picture of the lot, and we're gonna go out there because she wants us to meet her out there. And this is how the lot is, which is how most of the lots are in Mount Pleasant, Island Pond, and I'd say probably the best looking lots are probably in the new section of Evergreen. I don't know why, just that grass, probably because we planted that. But most of the cemeteries have this lot, and this is our 8th year in a drought. So I think the majority of the grasses in most of the cemeteries are not pristine unless somebody's watering them or taking care of them each day. But she wants something done about her lot. I also included in there, she had sent us a couple of work orders that were in here. This one's from 2010. She was saying she thought that one of the graves was collapsing, and I'm assuming that was the neighboring grave and not hers. And the guys went out and took a look at that. But then in 2017, she had put in a work order asking that we loam and seed her lot, which Jim did. He went out and loamed and seeded in September 12th of 2017. She said that they watered it and that the grass just didn't grow. And she said it was some kind of quick fix or annual grass, that it wasn't a real grass seed. I don't know anything about grass. But anyways, she, I think, wants something done to her lot. So I want you guys to go out and take a look at the lot. And at one point she said maybe we could do the whole area, but
If we don't get much rain, the grass is just, it's not gonna go, and we just don't have the manpower to go out there and water it all the time.
Will there be a ripple effect?
so that is the other thing. So if this could be a ripple effect. So I mean, so you want to, I think we should go down there and take a look at her lot, and look at all the other lots around there. If there's something that we could do to maybe, in the fall, maybe add some more seed to all of the lots that are near there, or, but I don't know if we're gonna have to do it to all the cemeteries and all the lots.
Well, I mean, that's just it. Are we gonna look like the Bourne National Cemetery? Or are we gonna respect our water problems that we have
Right.
out here?
I think a lot of that, there's so many pine trees in there, that's a problem for grass,
It's
isn't it?
acidic.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that she could really do is probably, you'd have to talk to another landscaper, but lime it and put down a drought tolerant grass seed, some kind of a fescue of some kind.
Yeah.
Not the bluegrass that looks plush.
but it's still not gonna get watered, so.
No,
it's-
but if it's drought tolerant, it may be able to
Sure.
withstand stuff. Even my lawn looks like crap.
All right, so
So-
anyway,
so
so
meet her
we are
after
gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna call her when we leave, and so that she lives close, so that she can meet us down there, and that we can just, go over the lot with her. Okay,
And then we'll
How many
s-
acres do we have?
like 9, we
I
have like.
I just saw that number somewhere. and I can't
So it's like 98, but we have 70 that's, I think, actual
Yeah.
mowable.
But that's a lot,
Yeah.
that's a lot of
Yeah,
water.
that is a lot of water. That's true.
And sprinklers,
Yeah, we don't really want people sprinkling.
No, and they're allowed to do whatever they want in their own lots. If they wanna hire a landscaper to go in and take care of their plot, they can.
They can, yes.
Okay, that's
that's the
reasonable.
ripple issue I just am
Yeah.
cringing about a little bit.
That could go sideways.
I get it, you know, but
Right.
Then we have an email from the Brewster Cemetery on the
Yeah,
GPR.
Yeah, so Robert Williams has an area in the Brewster Cemetery that he wants me to scan. I do the scanning work with Brian Albee. He's the only other technician, I think, in the town that's actually trained. We went to school together on training on the GPR equipment. So we're trying to come up with a time. I am going away for a week in September. So, and then when I get back, and then he's going to Florida. So, either that or he'll be back between the 20th and the 28th of December, which I would actually prefer to scan in the winter months. It's better, it's a better read when the ground is frozen. And if the ground is wet, it kind of gives an iffy read. So I would prefer to do it when it's actually freezing outside. So, I would like to do it in December, so I'll reach out to him, and I
I mean,
think
he
it's.
didn't need it for something.
No, so they're just trying to come up with more burial space in their cemetery, and they have a lot of older lots, and they just don't have records for them, and they just want us to scan them to make sure that those spaces are available so that they can sell lots. And it's good money for us, I mean, it's, a couple $1,000s for me to go down there
That's
and,
to pay for the next
yeah,
machine or repairs, yeah.
Do
sure.
we have any other business? Another business?
I don't know, does anybody have any other business under correspondence? No,
Yes, thank you.
not Joe New Business, right?
Old business, update on the Veterans Memorial at Evergreen?
Yeah, so Rob had sent us some questions, so I had Carol answer them. Oh, and I didn't put it in there. So Carol did answer them, and she said we already are tax exempt, and that we do not need to be a 501c3.
Is that federal or just state?
She didn't say, but I will check with that.
Well, I mean, I can't see us becoming a 501
Right.
for this, and it may be inappropriate for us to coordinate
Right.
a Facebook page, like one of the things that I have on here. But maybe there's people that are as into this project as we are
Right.
and would be willing to,
So on the town of Waltham page, because they sell the bricks on that.
right, yeah.
It just goes through their regular town website page, and people buy bricks for the year, and then they have a cutoff date for whoever the vendor is who actually engraves the bricks. So if it's, say they say February 15th is the cutoff date, then all of the money that they collected, all those bricks will be ready and installed before Memorial Day. So I don't know what the date is. I could probably get that and put that in the next packet and find out. I can actually talk to the girl over in Waltham and find out how they pay for that and how they go out to get who has the bid.
Yeah, I was just concerned though that if we weren't offering, a federal tax deduction,
Right.
then, my brother who lives in Jersey,
Yeah.
and he wanted to buy a
Right.
brick for dad, even though
Right.
it's not gonna save his tax bill much.
Right.
But he would not get a tax credit because he resides in New Jersey, and it's being installed here, so
Okay.
Harwich gives them a tax credit, and it's like, well, big woo, you know. I'm just thinking that may open more doors for us
Right.
for this project. It's,
All right, well, it's worth looking into, that's for sure.
and then we were, I don't know, maybe this would be new business, but the Facebook page for this, or some to
Yeah.
promote it?
Yeah, so, I kind of want to run it by, Joe, just to ask him if we could do a Facebook page for this. And then if he says that it's perfectly fine to do one, which, because it's kind of nice when you do have a Facebook page, because the work can, people can share it and get information from it. So I wouldn't mind doing that. But I will reach out to him and make sure that it's appropriate.
Yeah,
And then we could link to it off of our cemetery page.
Correct.
I know that Jamie has one for Channel 18. So,
and the cream will rise to the top on that, as people that are just gonna go, wow, this is just an amazing project, I wanna
Right.
be involved. And then if we have to expand or want to expand fundraising,
right,
We
for
don't do that
future,
platform.
additions to this thing, then maybe we can get a core of
volunteers.
civilians, for lack of,
Yeah.
not commission related,
Yeah.
just to keep things
And
on
I
the
think-
up
I
and up
think-
for everybody.
I think Will Remillard would probably want to be on that.
He might, yeah.
Yeah, because he was the veterans agent for
Yeah,
a while. And he
right.
really wanted this project to go through when he was on the commission,
Mhm.
so. Perfect.
Cool. Updating the CPC article on the Gravestone Conservation.
Yeah, so we already touched bases on that, and that was, I'm reaching out to Mike from the, Village Green. Oh, are we talking about East Harwich? On the East Harwich one? Well, so on that one, went before the Board of Selectmen, like, you guys already know that. And they unanimously want to support us moving forward with that. I am gonna go back out there, and I have to in the next day or so, just to confirm that no other new stones have fallen. So I had written my original quote a year and a half ago, and I just wanna confirm that we haven't had to add any more. The good news is, it was $100 and something thousand before, and now there are a whole bunch of new vendors who are experienced in gravestone preservation. So like, when we got our bid documents and how competitive that was. So I think the pricing might get better on that. I think on all of our other things, the prices are gonna go up, but on that, I think it's gonna be good for us, because no other towns are putting in the energy or resources to do these gravestone conservation projects. They just don't have any time or man hours. It's very time consuming to get those
Yeah.
into the CPC and then going before the commission, and then there's a lot of steps involved, and a lot of cemetery departments just don't have those resources, so. But we want our cemeteries to look great, so we're gonna keep doing them.
Did we do the flagpoles? Because that's not listed in the.
So that was just part of the Veterans Memorial,
Okay.
and we did touch on that, and I said I was gonna, so they said, as per our conversation, getting the site work completed prior to the flagpole installation. The sleeves for the footings and the flagpoles to be installed prior to the hardscape installation. So, I had reached out to her because I wanted to know that, because I don't wanna find this out after the fact, and she was like, yeah, that's not what you wanna do, dig it up after the fact.
So then we're gonna have to have the main one put in the ring that holds all the other ones in
Yeah.
before the flagpoles show up.
Yes, yeah.
And we get emails from John Canto.
Okay, so this is John Canto. Remember when we all visited Evergreen and you guys walked over there and you were talking about potentially getting the 2 sections paved to complete? So right now it's
Dirt.
kind of like, it's not,
Hardtack.
it's like it's a hard
Cinder,
pack.
it's a cinder pack.
Yeah. So to complete that, so I had Chris Nickerson meet with John Canto, and they walked it, and Chris went over how he would want it to be completed, and then John Canto sent us in this quote. We have an existing quote from John Canto. He was the low bidder on our other paving, so we can. Chris said that we can just use those original price quotes to do this, because we haven't got up over the amount that we can go up to yet, and he said this would be well within our bid documents.
without getting multiple bids.
Correct.
And everybody's happy with John Cantor's work. I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
Oh my
Everybody's
God,
happy
it
with
came
it,
out,
right?
so, oh my God, it came
I'm
out.
sure it is.
The entrance to Island Pond?
So he did that, just that one thing.
Right.
But to get the whole thing done, I think we need to wait until after the season because somebody already drove on the new little, nobody can drive on it and we'd have to close the cemetery. So we really kind of want to wait till after all of the summer or fall people. I mean, we're still usually pretty crowded in the cemetery till October. So if we were to close the cemetery for 2 days for it to,
It's hard.
yeah, you can't drive on it. That's the only thing.
Oh, it is to cure.
Yeah.
And it's been so hot, I don't think.
Yeah, and it's
Cure
been
time
really
spreads
hot. So
way out.
even the one little section where they had paved, somebody had parked on it when it was like one of those 90-degree days. So it has a little bit of a, yeah, so I would prefer to hold off because I don't want it to look terrible. So until it's cooler, so then I think we can revisit it at that. But
Yeah.
I didn't get a complete quote for him to do that, I don't think, but I can ask him to. If we can just resurface it, maybe it's a different process then.
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
But we can go to this in the November meeting then, because then it should be cool enough for all that.
yes.
Good idea.
And I kind of want to have a meeting in between,
Yes.
if we can, just to go over the rules after we do those today.
Well, that's coming, so
Yeah,
just
yeah.
keep pressing
Okay.
on.
Okay, so,
We're
so
working
wait,
on it.
so I need
Rob's
to.
locked and loaded.
So what are we doing with this? So what,
All right, so I move that we proceed with the 11.5 quote
Okay.
from John Canto
To get both
to
sides
connect that.
connected.
If that's a reasonable price and
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
comfortable with that and his
Yeah.
work meets standards, yeah.
I'll second that.
Steve seconds?
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we get the rules and regulations.
All right, so I have.
Should we set up how we want to start going over this?
So I want you to look at, there's our original ones, and then this is the one that we started to work on for, that was supposed to be at the town meeting, but then it got pulled because of, they didn't want us to have a long meeting and they thought there'd be a lot of debate, so they pulled it out. So this was what was going to go to town meeting in 2020, pre-pandemic.
Right.
So we had already gone through a lot of this
Yeah.
and made all of these changes. So I don't think that we really have to, I think if we just read them one at a time and go down, and you guys can say whether you,
Should we set up just a single meeting that we can just sit and just,
now, I think we should go through some of it today, and then I think we should then revisit
See
it.
if we can do it.
Yeah, let's do, I think we
I
should.
don't have that one.
So it should be, so it says the first three.
Yeah. Isn't that the one right there?
Oh,
And yeah,
there it is.
okay.
I flipped right through it, sorry.
Okay. Sorry, it's double-sided to save trees. So, it says to see if the town will vote to approve the revised cemetery rules and regulations as submitted by the Harwich Cemetery Commission and act fully therein. Changes and additions are renumbered, are in bold and underlined, and strikeouts to be deleted. And then, so the first rule, if you put ours side by side right here. Rule number 1, the cemeteries are open daily from dawn to dusk. I think we all voted, or you guys all voted unanimously to just leave that one in.
yeah, that's reasonable.
And then Cindy, I think we went over this one in great detail if I remember. Number 2, which was, no vehicle shall be operated in any part of the cemetery at speeds no faster than 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then violators will be subject to speeding fines. I think we
You
took
taking
that whole thing out and just wrote, the
Yeah.
speed limit for all vehicles shall be 10 miles per hour or less.
Yeah,
Is everyone in
Yes.
agreement with that one?
yeah.
Okay.
And then 3, recreational motorcycles, roller skating, skateboarding, and or other types of similar recreational sports are prohibited. The town is not liable for injuries sustained to any person participating in a recreational activity within cemetery property. Any activities that encroaches on individual lots or graves is prohibited.
So we took that whole thing out and just wrote skateboards, rollerblades, motorbikes, four-wheelers, etc. are prohibited.
Now, the motorbikes, suppose somebody just showed up on their motorcycle. You're talking like dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think that has to be clarified a
Oh,
little.
okay, so
How about
you
if
wanna
we
write,
put,
okay.
Non-registered? No?
I don't know.
Would that cover it?
Not
Any-
registered,
No unregistered vehicles are allowed? Somehow?
off,
No.
well, even off-road vehicles, basically.
So
Yeah.
isn't that a four-wheeler, or, so if we took out motorbikes and four-wheelers?
Well, the only problem is some people will have a dirt bike that is road,
That's true.
Yeah, my neighbor has one.
and they
Yeah.
ride it to work and
Yeah.
it's
It's their
got
vehicle.
Clayton inspected.
Do we wanna
Yeah.
take out motorbikes?
Well, I like the unregistered aspect,
Yeah.
because that will eliminate the four-wheelers.
Okay,
UTVs and all that,
Yeah.
side by sides.
All
so,
the gas-powered
Go-karts.
toys.
so what do you, so you want me to
So
strike,
strike motorbike, you can, I would say you can leave four-wheeler, because that's not gonna be a registered
right,
vehicle, at least from my knowledge. You know, and anything that's like a golf cart item would be
Non-registered.
the town or somebody's bringing that over there to do the work, like
Right.
Yeah.
the fellow that works on the bike path,
yeah,
you know, the rail trail, you know, he's got
What about bicycles? Because you see a lot of them riding around in
Yeah.
there.
well, I would hate to see bicycles in there, because I will ride by and, you know, and check things out. I'm not
There are a
racing the
lot-
course, but,
there are a lot
A
of
lot
bikes.
of people walk and ride in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of bikes and a little, like, people bring in their, not just in Island Pond, but in Evergreen too, sometimes in there, or in Mount Pleasant, they'll bring their grandkids in there
Mm-hmm.
to teach them how to ride a bike.
right, and I was there one day, and we in the back of Island Pond on a jog, and there were guys on, this is pre-commission days, but there were guys on skateboards,
Yeah.
using the hills in the back.
Yeah,
But skateboards are very popular with younger people, you know, just going
Yeah.
from
There's a motor
from
trend.
going to A to B. I mean, there's the motorized version, the battery operated version.
right.
I mean, I wonder if this, not to belabor this, but I mean, I wonder if this should allude to performing recreational or engaging in recreational activity as opposed to,
Just,
Passive.
passive, yes, I'm on my skateboard because grandma is here and I wanna see grandma. I mean, I would just hate to have, you know, some 13-year-old get in trouble
Right.
because he's just.
you know, it was an innocent,
Yeah.
because in the long term, that paints the wrong picture.
Because
Right.
we don't want to turn it into a roller skating park.
So should we, do you wanna just do unregistered vehicles? Or unregistered,
Well, I mean, skateboards, rollerblades, four-wheelers, or other recreational
Non-registered vehicles.
vehicles used for,
Recreational purposes.
yeah, being used for recreational purposes are prohibited. You know, in other words, the guys on the skateboards enjoying the hills, which is
Yeah.
pretty talented to watch what they were doing, but
Yeah.
but if you were over visiting, you know, your relatives and you're
Right.
listening to these skateboards going down the hill, you're like,
That's disrespectful.
it is, I
Yeah.
agree, it's,
Yeah,
and I'm just trying to be accommodating to
Exactly.
the 13-year-old that wants to
Right.
visit grandma or his best friend from high school that's
Right.
buried there, and you go, well,
I think it should be in the rules that they're not allowed. And
okay,
if somebody goes in there and they get caught, just tell them, you know, this is why we don't allow them. I understand, you know, you came in here because instead of riding a bike, you were riding on your skateboard. But we'd appreciate if you didn't, because there are some kids that come in to do the hills and they're loud and disrespectful.
right.
Leave it at that.
well, yeah, and that's why I say, you know, the phrase, you know, used for recreational purposes is prohibited. Or
Right.
recreational activities.
Good idea.
I mean, recreational activities in a cemetery, to me, that's,
Yeah,
that's
disrespectful.
disrespect, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how's, is that wording?
So I'll work on the wording and then I'll bring up a couple suggestions for the next meeting.
Okay.
Good.
I like
And then that
sure.
way, and then that way we can just, cause
Yeah. All
if
right,
we
so-
have one more,
So
if we
3
have,
is tabled, I guess, right?
well,
Sort of.
we'll try to,
Right.
try. So then number 4 originally was any person disturbing the quiet and/or order of the grounds by loud noise, speeding, or other improper or disorderly conduct. It was very long, so we changed it to, no alcohol or drugs are allowed. Anyone disturbing the peace and quiet in any way will be removed from the property.
Well, see, rule number 3 with C rule number 4, parentheses.
Okay.
That ties into the
Yeah.
loud rollerblades and being flipped and crashing and
Okay.
kids hooting and hollering type thing. Or
The other thing I was
adults.
thinking is like, before we start the rules, should be, like, we have this one part. This is probably not the best time for that, but there was a whole thing, like an intro chapter about who we are, right, the administrative part, and that all people entering should treat it with respect, and
Yeah, we can add
instead of
that.
being way down here, put it in the lead of it. We can
Oh,
reorganize it.
I
all,
do
but-
like that idea of a tone setter.
Right.
In other words,
So the
get-
administration should be in,
Like the first thing, the Harwich
First.
Cemetery Commission with the town seal and
Are,
stuff.
Yeah.
are dedicated to, or something, yeah.
To start setting up that way, because the other towns do that, they go who they are,
Good
how you are expected to behave in there, and then it goes on
okay,
from there off. And then probably after that, have all the cemeteries listed, active and inactive,
okay.
and then go through the rules.
So that's an organizational thing we have
Yeah,
to touch
we can do
on.
that at the end when
So
we get everything done.
That's a good idea.
Okay, and then number 5, we had no person shall remove, cut, break, or mark any tree or shrub, or mark upon, deface, or injures any monument or structures on the ground.
We changed it to monuments, gravestones, and other structures within the cemetery will be defaced that will not be defaced in any way. Trees and shrubs shall not be removed, broken, or cut. Removal requires authorization from the cemetery commission. So people can't just go in there and cut down trees, or
Can they do it on their own lot?
on their own lot, but not like people go in places and just start
Landscaping.
landscaping.
Well,
Shouldn't
should
it
it
be
be-
on their own lot as well?
Yeah, remember the whole thing we just dealt with my wife's
Yeah,
family's lot over in Chatham? I mean, I can show you a picture, but it's a big 10 by 10, big lot,
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
10 plots. And in the back, for the 4 corners, the family had planted yews, I
Yeah.
guess. Well, that was ages ago, and
They're
in the
huge
back, they're monstrous, and in the front, somebody had cut them, not flush cut, they're like this high. and
Stumps.
there's
Just
bee-
stumps, yeah.
These beasts. And I told Robin, I said, well, there's gotta be somebody I can hire that's got a little tiny backhoe. And she's like, you just can't throw a backhoe.
Yeah,
in
you
here,
can't,
Cause you
no.
don't know who's gonna pop up with the.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just have
So I
people
think
take it.
that should be,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you shouldn't be able to, what I was getting at, you should be able to touch your lot without running it by somebody in the know.
Right, yeah.
If you
So-
wanted to replace shrubs, move shrubs, you
Or-
can trim your own little
I
shrubs.
mean, and we should make the process easy, it may be a form.
Yeah.
We would like to do this, then one of us or 2 of us can run out,
Take your
meet,
peek.
see it, review a plot plan, or what was the thing you called it? You did a survey
Yeah.
for my
Yeah.
family's lot? Yeah. Oh, yeah, like we had in the beginning of the meeting today, those surveys.
Okay.
Then gravestone repairs or
Well,
rubbings.
Hang on, just before you move on, should we then also address the addition of,
To do new plantings.
yeah, is that
So
coming
it
up?
should we do a form that says removal or additions?
Yes,
I'll make up a new form for
yeah,
that.
I like that
Okay.
idea. I mean, I'd hate to have
Additions.
somebody come in and plop an oak, and now the oak is growing on top of 3 unmarked.
Well, so people do usually call and ask if they can plant a tree on their lot. And usually I say you need to tell me what type, is it a dwarf tree? And, because some of the root system will go onto your neighboring lots and lift up stones or,
Yeah.
I mean, can cause a problem for future burials. So usually they run by, or a lot of times they just want to do like a rhododendron or a hydrangea or something like that, or a little shrub. But every now and then you get somebody who wants to do a tree. One of the guys that just planted 2 small ginkgos next to his mother's lot. Ginkgos are very, they don't have a huge invasive root system. His mother's already buried in the lot, and they're surrounding, they lost 2 huge trees two huge oak trees that were near their
From the
lots.
tornado,
Yeah, from the tornado, so he just said, there's just no shade here anymore. I go, well, those ginkgos aren't gonna give much shade, but, it'll give it something, so he planted two, but he did come and he drafted a letter and, met me down there and we staked out the whole thing, and he has been maintaining it and watering it ever since, and the trees look great. So, I mean, that's just one example of, you know, a lot of people do call, but some people do not.
But the form would be nice, then we know what's going on everywhere, and it's written down, and there's a record of what they wanna do and what they did,
Yeah, that is true.
and with the date that they did it.
Right.
So that we can keep track of that.
And if it happens that they do this without, and we find out, and it's something that we really shouldn't have permitted, or
Right.
wouldn't have permitted, then we're within our grounds to have it removed.
Right.
Okay, the number 6, gravestone repairs and rubbings require prior authorization from the cemetery commission or its designated agent. A copy of the Association of Gravestone Studies, gravestone rubbings do's and don'ts will be provided.
So I have that thing, so the Center for Gravestone Studies gives that to people because they don't want people doing brownstones or slates that are very fragile. So if you do a regular older marble or granite stone, there's usually not a problem. It's when people try to, and usually when they do gravestone rubbings, they want to do those really old stones.
Yeah.
And there's a proper procedure that they have to follow to do that. So I think that one should stay exactly,
the same.
exactly.
Actually, we put a copy of a link to the gravestone rubbings on
Yeah,
our
okay,
website,
Sure, okay.
just
Do
so
we
it
need-
gives people an easier access to it.
Yeah, so they put that out every year, they have their own do's and don'ts sheet, so I could put a link to that, scan it in,
Perfect.
and put it on the website.
Do we need to have that, or its designated agent?
That would be one of you guys.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh, you wanna just take
Authorization
that
of commission.
cemetery commission? Okay, just take that out,
you
Yeah.
think?
all right,
But so it just says prior authorization of the cemetery commission.
yeah,
Right.
we'll just take that out.
Yeah, because it'd be one of us anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
Firearms shall not be discharged in the cemeteries except for salutes at military funerals, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day.
so in the back of the Island Pond Cemetery, we found is it a tree stand, is that what it's called?
Tree stand, yeah.
Yeah,
Or for deer hunting.
Yeah.
yeah, so somebody was hunting in there, so, right in the very.
Since we expanded it, or before we expanded? It's just
Um,
an old one stuck
two-
open.
No, it's been used recently. It was used, yeah, I called the,
Not enough
It's
space
part
down
of the
there.
deer tick removal program.
so,
No problem with that.
so anyway, I called Amy Uzowski, because it's on, really, it's as it's transitioning to the conservation parcel, but
Yeah.
that's a big walking area. I don't really think that we should be having people hunt out there. So,
Yeah.
I took pictures of the stand, I brought it to the Conservation Commission, and they're gonna, take it down. But, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, actually, so whoever's
Should-
using it,
There's
somebody
supposed to
should.
be a tag with the hunter's name and
Right.
license number on the stands.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know if she went up to the top, but
Yeah.
I was like, that looks like a ladder, like I saw it from a distance, and then I
Yeah.
went over and it was a ladder, and then it was a big,
Yeah, no hunting allowed on cemetery grounds.
there was no hunting.
Maybe it's
Do we
a
need to add that
photographer.
on there?
Maybe it's a photographer, I'm thinking, yeah.
I picked up arrows in the cemetery. I picked up shotgun shells, casings. Yeah.
So-
Well,
It does
maybe, that's a good point. Maybe instead of firearms,
Mhm.
No hunting?
we should add
No hunting.
no hunting. Well, would you include a bow and arrow? I mean,
That would be hunting.
Right. I mean, can't see anybody setting up a target in there.
Yeah. Yeah, the arrow was odd. It was in the middle of the cemetery.
Razor tipped?
Yes.
Oh, it's a hunting arrow now.
Oh. Yeah, because I'd never seen one
Target,
before.
target arrow looks like the.
Well, yeah, the
That's
regular
a
tip.
target arrow.
Exactly.
And a hunting arrow's got the razor
Yeah.
blades on it. Yeah. So,
Maybe it should first say, no hunting.
Comma,
well,
Fire-
firearms shall not be discharged in the cemeteries except for salutes.
Mhm.
Hunting is prohibited at all times.
With all
Yeah.
hunting,
Hunting,
hunting
firearm or
arrow.
bow and arrow. is prohibited at all times.
Because you get bow and arrow, rifle, and black powder. They hunt with. You want to do the interments? Because it seems to be a short one.
So, burial lot in the cemetery shall be used for no other purpose than to place the interments of the human dead, including cremated remains. This is because, this is what it says in the Mass Cemetery Association, because animals are not allowed to be buried in human cemeteries. So they say it as the human dead. And that's how it's explained in the Mass Cemetery rules, so I think we should just leave that like it is. No interment shall be made until the cemetery administrator or designee, which would be you guys, has been furnished with a burial permit or cremation certificate as required by law, together with written order of internment form from the legal owner. So not anyone can sign off, it has to be the owner of the lot. So this is what happens when we have lots that have been inherited,
Right.
and rights of inheritance. So we want to make sure that we have the right person, and
So how do you, based on what we just went through,
Mhm.
I mean, how do you prove that? I mean,
So-
this is inherited the plot from Uncle Harry.
Right.
Who's there without a marker, but,
right,
and it's just here, she got that from the lawyer,
right.
but there is no, and you said that they don't change the ownership.
So they never change the ownership. It's always the person who purchased the lot. So for instance, just take my lot. So I own a lot, and then I pass away, and I have 3 children. My 3 children would, unless I stated in the will that I give it just to one of my kids and not the other 2, it's rights of inheritance. So those 3 children would get equal shares of that lot. It's pretty easy to do that this day and age. A lot of people have not just their death certificates, their obituaries, or pretty much you can just pull census records and you can find out how many kids they had. I mean, it's pretty easy, especially the older lots that we're usually looking at, So then it's rights of inheritance. If it's a lot that's kind of like, had a lot going on, maybe they had 8 kids and it's a 12 grave lot, I usually make them do the heirs of record form. So in the heirs of record form, they have to have that filled out to me, and it has to be notarized, telling me that they are the heirs.
What is do they have to provide proof with that? Copy of Grandpa's will or
Yeah,
something?
so if it has a will, they have to provide the will. If they don't have a will, then it's just they fill it out, and then I verify it. So, because I have a genealogical background.
So, all right, so based on all that, are you comfortable with the way number 2 is written?
Yes. No grave shall be open for interment or removal unless it's authorized by the cemetery commission and the area has been flagged by the cemetery personnel. So we've had a few disinterments and interments, but we have to flag out the area. We don't want them, and remember when I was on vacation, the first thing I said is, you go out, you sell the lot, you flag it. It's important that it's flagged. If it's not flagged, I'm gonna dig a hole anywhere, and then we wouldn't know where the person is. So it's important that it's flagged out by cemetery personnel. On our form, and probably in one of those layouts that you had in here,
It's at the bottom of your
at the
survey.
bottom of it is, I got one right here. So I created this form. So when I do an interment, I write the full name, the date of the burial, the time of the burial type. Is it a full body burial casket or is it a cremation? Where is it going? Head, center, foot. The funeral home, Morris O'Connor Blue, don't be all the names. Who the digger is, what the digger's contact number is, and then are they getting a monument mark out at the time of death? Are they a veteran? All that stuff. So then who surveyed it, and then I have to sign off that it's been marked out before the actual burial takes place. So I kind of want those in place because if you come back, and I save these, they're in the files. So when I go back, they're like, oh yeah, she went in grave space number 4. So then you know that they're in grave space number 4 and the other ones are open. So it's important to have that information in there. And if you don't, then I think it causes a lot of confusion for the next burial. Not for that one, but for the next one, it just makes it easier. So I think number 1 and 2, I'm really happy
I don't
with
think
that.
we
Okay.
changed any of them.
Yeah.
Then number 3, all internments shall be enclosed in a cement vault except infants shall require an approved container.
So they are usually in cherub containers that are self-contained, and so they don't need a vault is almost as big as this table.
Right.
We don't want to have them install that for an
So the
infant.
container's like having a small vault around it.
Yeah,
It'll
they
protect
they
it.
still have a container, but it's not a vault. It's different. So cremations are required to have an urn or other permanent approved container. So as long as it's not pouring ashes into the dirt, because so many times people move and they want to retrieve the ashes or retrieve their cremated remains, and we'd have to dig up the whole area because we wouldn't have them. So as long as it's in a non-biodegradable container, that's what it says on our interment form, then we're okay with that.
Are there small vaults that we put in for those?
You can. People do
Yeah.
use urn vaults, and a lot of people like those. And they do that because a lot of times the kids or the grandkids like to put mementos in those. So you'd have their ashes in something smaller, but then the urn vault is this big.
Yeah, my
I've s-
mother-in-law's was a pink marble thing, and it was about this big. It was relatively heavy. And, yeah, it looked like on the top there was a metal lid that you unscrewed. And I
Yeah.
didn't even think about
Yeah.
mementos or anything
So
like
people
that,
put, I've seen people put in baseball hats or
Yeah.
a ball or, whatever. So one lady was an avid gardener and they put in a couple gardening tools with her. I don't know,
Yeah.
she's not gardening, but I just think it's something for the kids so they feel like they're doing,
Part of it,
yeah, being part of it. So some of them wrote notes and put them in there. So I think sometimes the vault is actually
It's
kind of a
nice.
nice, especially when, it's such a different service when you have a full body burial as a cremation. So I think they're trying to make it seem a little bit more.
The same.
yeah.
Now, we shouldn't be requiring vaults for that.
We do not require one, but if they would like one, we're not opposed. That's for
So
sure.
it's not a necessary thing to have,
No, I don't think so.
as long as the container is non-biodegradable.
Correct.
Okay, so we need to end, so that should stay as it is?
Yeah. And then the lot usage is for a lot 4x10, can contain 1 full body burial and 1 cremation, or 4 cremations. A lot of times people that are gonna be cremated now, they only buy 1 full body burial lot, because you can put 4 cremains in there, and they get to have an upright memorial. And the 9 times out of 10 is because they want an upright memorial, they just don't wanna have a flat flush marker. And then in a cremation lot, which is 4 feet by 3 feet, that's for 2 cremains. And so those are $500 if you're a resident, as opposed to a 4 feet by 10 foot, which is $800. So you get it twice as many and, saving $200. So I sell more full body burial lots than I do cremation lots, to be perfectly honest with you.
For the cremains.
People just want an upright memorial, you know what I mean? So that they can be placed. The cremation lots are only in the cremation sections, which are around the lily pond, or in Evergreen, we have a section which is by the 137 Flagpole. So those are the 2 cemeteries.
And they have to have flat monuments.
Correct.
In a single cremation in Harwich Center Cemetery, lot usage for 1 cremain remains internment.
Oh, we
for the
took
section.
that out.
That's
That
all.
was gone from that
Why
time
was-
before.
So why wasn't here then? Why was that pulled?
Because we don't no longer maintain that cemetery.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's owned by the church.
Yeah.
And along the interment lines, will we have, what do you call the walls? Mausoleum walls?
I would love to have one. I think if we do one of those, that would be a capital item. And we would have to put that in our capital plan, and that would have to go before the Board of Selectmen and FinCom. Those are very expensive to construct.
Yeah. Well, I noticed Chatham had one in the back of Seaside.
Yeah. They are very expensive, and to buy a lot in there is very expensive. A lot of the towns that put them in had a hard time selling them, and I know that
Yeah.
even Holy Trinity had a hard time selling theirs at first.
Yeah.
I think now they've really,
But
but a lot of the churches have them.
Right.
So I think,
But just thinking about Brewster is worried about space.
you're right. They have one.
Well, I mean, now you go vertical instead
yeah.
of horizontal.
Right.
You almost need
So
like a nice place
in
with a
our
hill to
actual
set it in.
plans for Evergreen, we were supposed to put in 2 cremation walls on either end of the, one kind of up by Pee Wee's house, and then one on the other corner, almost like by the 400 East, on the other side of it. But I can bring those blueprints in and show you. When they designed it with 2 cremation walls on either side, to have cremation sections, but it's just an expensive thing, and I'd like to see where the other towns are and how much they've sold and how, you know, how much it was and if it's really worth doing it.
Well, it's just a foresight thing,
Right.
you know. Depends how many they will hold and.
Right.
you know.
And then you gotta maintain that forever.
Yeah.
So it's a structure that,
Yeah.
that might look good for 20, 30 years, but then you're maintaining it. Cause it's made out of concrete, usually.
Have you had requests for that?
Occasionally, but not that often. Very rare. Very rare that somebody asks me about it. And usually I just tell them the couple places that have them. I think the Lutheran Church has one, Holy Trinity has one.
St. Peter's
Yeah,
in East Harwich?
yeah. And I think there's another one that has one as well.
Yeah, the Congregational Church, I think, in Harwich.
Do you guys wanna keep going?
Next one's a good sized section. We changed a lot already. We can go quickly through that.
Yes, because that's already been done
That's right.
by
Yeah, yeah.
you guys.
So we had to renumber it because we had deleted one of the ones before, and apparently we didn't put it at town meeting to renumber it, and you actually have to for it to automatically go through. So the numbering was incorrectly, and they wouldn't let me renumber it until we bring it back to town meeting, so that all of the numbers got changed again. So we did take out one section here. We took out, the owners of the rights of the burial of their lots shall not sell or cede the exclusive rights of burial other than to the town of Harwich, provided by Mass General Law, to be no greater than the equal price. I don't know why we took that out. That is Massachusetts state law. I mean, we could just leave that back in.
I mean, if it's a
Well, I thought
state
it
law,
was,
we should
isn't that
probably.
number 2?
That's number 1. Oh, was it in
It
2?
was made a separate item.
Oh, okay, that's why. Oh, so we just made it into, so right now,
Our number 2 is the owner's rights of burial, their heirs shall not sell the said exclusive right of burial other than to the town,
okay, all right,
provided by the Mass General Law.
okay.
I think if it's a Mass General Law, it should be stated in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, and then number 3,
I believe we kept the same.
the assignments of rights of burial shall be arranged by first contacting the cemetery administrator. An assignment form needs to be completed, notarized, and submitted back. Should we say heirs of record form, not assignment? Because it is a form, it's called the heirs of record.
Yeah,
Oh, it should match exactly. That
Yeah.
should.
Speaking of the rights of owners, the owner's rights of burial, different places we've said if the owners, the lot owner,
Yeah.
nobody actually owns them. Is that gonna be a conflict in there, or do we have to put,
They do own them. They don't own the land, they own the rights of burial. They own the rights of burial.
right, but they're not the lot owner of the actual land?
But they are the lot owners. They get a deed
The
for the
rights,
lot. But
yeah.
the town
How far
owns
down do they own?
6 feet. 7,
So-
8 feet maybe.
So saying that nobody's ever said to you, oh, well, you said back here that we own it, and then you say over here we have the rights to burial.
They are the owners.
So maybe this should be spelled out as part of our intro
Okay,
Yeah, good idea.
definition.
okay.
You know,
Thank you.
a lot of legal documents,
Yeah.
it'll say, you know, the party of
The first.
John and Jane, henceforth known as
Okay.
the
Lot
party,
owners. Yeah.
or party one, so that they're not always writing it, you know.
Because I've noticed in some of the other rules and regulations with the town, they have the intro, and then they have like a little section of definitions.
Yes.
Okay.
To explain what all these things stand for. It might be
Yeah,
advantageous to
I
put
think
that.
when this is all done, we're gonna need another room, and
Spread
A to
this stuff
Z,
Yeah,
this is how we want this.
okay,
to be, yeah.
perfect.
out. It's like a
Thank you.
work in progress for a while.
All right.
Okay, then-
So you're gonna move, so we're gonna add a clarifying,
Lines, we're gonna do the intro, then definitions,
yeah, intro definitions.
and then we'll, I mean, this is gonna require like a lot of meetings. So there'll be,
that's fine.
there'll be a couple drafts going back and forth, and then we'll,
Well, I mean, along those lines, not to deviate from what we're doing, I mean, I would be, of course, my schedule's completely different now, but I mean, I would be fine with, we get out our iCals and we go here, 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 and if we need a room or if
Yep.
we have to be live for this, I don't know if we have to be live for all of that, but just to,
I think we do.
okay, well, I mean, it's fine. People wanna watch what we say, but I think we have to hash out a lot of this stuff to whittle it down
What's on it?
before it goes, you know,
Okay.
to a vote,
Tied up.
so we have it right.
Okay. So
Three
number,
we kept the same.
well, we added heirs of record to assignment. We're taking out assignment. An heirs of record form needs to be completed.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and fourth, upon the death of the title owner, a lot passes to the heirs at law, Mass General Law, unless specified by the will or trust.
Right.
And I think that's reasonable. If you add, then you can set down who you want buried there with you or whatever.
Some people actually, one of the lot owners did do it, and he wrote, Ann's engraved number 2, her husband's engraved number 3, Becky's engraved number 4, her husband's engraved number 5. Like, the dad who owned the lot,
Right.
before he
Laid
died,
it out.
sent me in a letter and contained it in his will, which I thought was,
Planning ahead.
he was definitely, he was a planner. So it was good, because there was no question who was going where.
Then the fifth one is the full burial lot, the size 4x10 containing record. Recorder remains may also accommodate one cremation burial, provided the cremation remains be that of the heir at law or family member or prior interred remains, and be so certified and approved by the commission.
So, yeah, so so this is the issue that we're having with people trying to use older lots. So they have older lots, their grandparents owned it, now we've got, their grandchildren, spouses, or their whatever, and that somebody dies who's really not related to the person who owned the lot.
Yeah.
But now they want to put somebody's remains on top of somebody else. Technically, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to take my best friend, Sally, and put her on top of my grandfather's lot because he doesn't know who Sally, you know what I mean? So technically, we shouldn't be allowing
Right.
that to happen.
Unless
So-
it's specified in a
Yeah,
will
yeah.
or in a letter to
And
you
maybe
or
they were
something.
best friends, but I mean, we can't be disturbing the original lot owner's intent. If they intended to have the lot to have 8 grave spaces and it to look like a certain way, and then people come 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line, and they wanna change the whole lot layout, I don't think, I know that none of the other cemeteries allow that. Like if you go to Mount Auburn, that's it.
Yeah.
They only go 2 generations, they won't go 3 generations. So a lot of the cemeteries say in there, this is a 2-generation thing. We do have lots that are 16 grave lots, that are 4 generations,
Yeah.
that are larger, but I think that if we have lots that are full,
They're full.
but they're saying, but we could put a 1 cremation on all of the different
Right.
people, but they've already got footstones down for like John, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
Harry, Katie, and now they're like, well, we'll just take out their footstone and put in a new footstone.
No.
So, no. So I just want to make sure we're all in agreement with that.
Do older lots ever get re-subdivided?
No. So they don't. There are, sometimes they can write in their will that they're giving the 4 lots on the right to one of the kids and to somebody else, and then they are kind of subdivided, but.
No, I'm thinking, 50 years from now, and we have no space left, but
Right.
we have Joseph Harding, who has this 10 by 10, and only Joseph is in this 10 by 10. Yes, it is. Yes, he bought it in
So
1820 and,
after 75 years of non-use,
ah,
any cemetery can take back the unused portions of a lot.
is that in our rules?
That's in the Massachusetts state law. So I don't know that it has to be in our rules, it's a Massachusetts state law. So after 75 years of non-use. So
But when Robin, 75 years from now, is no longer our resident expert, who's gonna know this?
it could change though. They could change
Sure.
it. So we have to go by the
So-
existing Mass state law.
Do
Should we put some wording in,
reference
Yeah,
references that
in that preface, yeah.
Massachusetts state law as,
has a time
We're
limit
not-
where you could reuse, resell
well, I'm talking
unused
about all of
lots?
the Massachusetts general
Right.
laws that pertain.
So we do have Massachusetts general law quoted in here several times.
But does
So-
that supersede our own?
Yes,
or-
that supersedes anything that we do. They're the governing body of
So
all
I think that
cemeteries.
also should be part of the
Intro.
introduction.
Yeah,
Not a definition, but in all cases, Massachusetts general law,
Will be upheld.
blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, we
14
abide by
chapter,
them all.
whatever.
yeah,
I've read them, but I just, or some of them, but,
yeah.
Just put in there that we abide by all
Mass
the
state.
state.
yeah, the
Rules
Harwich
and
cemeteries will, yeah. When in doubt,
Will follow the state.
Massachusetts general law
Guidelines.
will prevail.
Yeah.
Should issue, I mean, how would an attorney write this, you know, should issues arise that were unforeseen by the Harwich Cemetery Commission, when
Yeah.
Massachusetts general law will prevail.
Yeah.
Then we got the burial lots for internment.
Is this for indigent?
Yep,
So any indigent resident, veterans are provided at no cost set aside burials. So we have two different sections in Island Pond that are for veterans only. Indigent veterans that people donated, residents donated these lots to the town for that particular purpose. And then we have placed, if they wanted to go to Evergreen, we have given, I think we've only 3 indigent veterans since I've been here in 2004 that have passed away. Normally, because they can go to
Right.
the base, well, up to Bourne National, so that, but for some reason or not, they want to be buried here, so we do it. And then, if any indigent, is that in here as well?
I think that's the,
Oh, yeah, number,
Is-
a single
is-
grave space will be made to any resident, parents, and/or without charge for any indigent, stillborn, or very young infants within the town at the time of their death. So,
we have certain spaces for that, or we,
yeah, we have the children's lot. We have 2 children's lots. The other thing is I think we need to add in here any indigent resident, period. Because we did have a young girl who was, and I don't know if you were on the commission then, who was killed in a terrible, horrific car accident. And all of her organs were donated, and then they ended up cremating her, and her family couldn't afford to have her buried, so we did give them a lot in Evergreen. She was from East Harwich. So I think that we should have, if there is an indigent, I mean, we have
Resident. Indigent
Resident.
Resident.
an indigent resident that cannot purchase a grave space, that we would.
provide one for
Yeah,
them.
made
Yeah, I-
available to any indigent resident.
So on this one, which is number 7, can we expand that, so it's not,
Single space.
it says may, we will be made available to any resident parents,
Any indigent resident. That includes babies, so.
yeah. It doesn't happen, people, that often, but it has happened,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we need to put it in there. Any indigent resident,
Living in the town at the time of their death.
okay, without charge,
Yeah.
For any indigent stillborn.
Yeah, I wouldn't even add the still.
Yeah, I mean, the specific definition, a defendant who is indigent has a constitutional right to court, oh, where'd it go? I'm sorry, I just had it. Charity for the relief of indigent, impoverished or unable to afford the necessities of life.
Okay. So any indigent resident without charge and just take out stillborn or very young infant, and just right within the town?
Because
Single grade space
resident includes the
The kids.
kids
will
of
be
any
made
age.
available to the resident, to any indigent, right, to any indigent resident.
To any indigent resident without charge, take
well,
out,
Any
Parents,
indigent resident living in the town at the time of their death
yes.
will be provided.
That take out the stillborn or very young.
Yeah,
Because
I
resident,
think
like Cindy said, covers,
yeah,
Yeah, but,
Any age.
but the living in the,
right.
yeah.
They must be living in the town at the time.
Okay.
and worked on, all work performed on graves or lots by their owners or by their order shall be performed only when prior authorization of the cemetery personnel in order to preserve as much as possible the natural appearance of cemeteries.
go on, you were gonna say something.
Too wordy?
Biting your tongue, I can
It's,
see
it's
it.
very wordy, but I think we need to have, we need to know if they're gonna be doing any
Yeah.
work.
Doing any work, yes, but does that include,
No, they can go and they,
Water and
no,
bulk.
no. So,
trimming a shrub?
depends. I mean, sometimes people go in there and they think it's their lot
Well,
and it's not their lot, and then
Right, well, I'll
they
give you
take
an
down the tree.
I'll give you an example. So there was, at my wife's family's plot, there's this rock. And that somebody had planted, or it had planted itself, that kind of wild cherry tree that grows
Yeah.
like a vine. And it had totally, occupied the rock. Well, Rob and the loppers removed that for the service.
Right.
Didn't do any digging, but I just
Yeah.
pruned. Now, should I have contacted the Chatham Cemetery Commission before I trimmed the shrub around the stone?
No.
No,
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Do we
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah.
specify,
The lot owners can.
so we are gonna make a new form for any removal of any plantings or additions.
Or heavy trimming or severe trimming of any bushes to resize. That should probably, just on the form should have a scope of work to be done.
Yeah.
They should fill out what they wanna do.
I can offer this as
Okay.
from experience, that the form going through the town will raise an anxiety level of, well, I'm just gonna prune this and hopefully nobody will notice. And what's my level of that versus somebody else's level of that could be disastrous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I think bad things, not bad things, but what'd you call it, gross pruning or something like that? I think that needs to be, examined. Heavy pruning should be
You
examined.
can do light pruning and stuff like that without any issues, but any heavy pruning and you can't just straight up remove stuff.
Yeah, and everything has to be removed from the site. I mean, we know
Oh,
that
debris.
from Link and Jim, that they
Yeah.
run into this stuff sometimes, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So, based on your experience, Robin, what's the best way to phrase that? I mean, you could be inundated with forms.
Right.
Please don't charge for this form.
Oh, we're not charging for this form. This is a free thing, but we just wanna make sure that they're,
It's like a
if they're not,
rebooking fee.
they're not like placing some of the plantings just are just so beautiful, and then they're on the abutting lots, but they don't want them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just don't know where their lot ends if they don't
We want to be
ask.
able to specify this,
Right.
but we also don't want to add, 20 hours a week it's in the springtime.
Right.
To you, or.
Right.
I mean, I guess we could as commissioners,
Yeah.
do a drive-by and authorize.
So do you guys wanna just take it out?
Oh, I don't know. I think we have to have some boundaries here because we've
Not
all
all
run
work?
into.
Or you wanna put heavy, what do you
All
wanna?
work performed on graves by lot owners shall be performed.
How about any major changes
Okay.
to one's
Yeah.
lot must be authorized? Would that cover it?
Major changes, yeah, you just can't go in and also leave a stump.
Yeah.
Or, yeah,
Instead of all work?
well, plantings other than, help me define
Well,
that.
plantings is in the next section.
How about any major changes such as,
Shrub removal, replacement.
yeah,
What, can you say that again? I'm sorry, Cindy.
any major changes
Any major changes?
must be authorized,
Yeah, I got that. But such as shrub removal?
such as shrub removal,
Or severe pruning.
yeah.
Because you don't want someone to come in and had a nice looking bush, now all of a sudden it looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Okay.
Number 9's a big one.
Well,
The 9 is a big one. Maintenance or removal of all plantings. And maintenance and removal of plantings, we took that out. And holiday arrangements placed by lot owner or designee is the responsibility of the lot owner.
so,
Do we need this?
so this is why I say 8 needs to be specified.
Yeah,
And then I think, this is just me, I think 9 needs to be 9 and 10. In other words, things that are done permanently to the lot, either 9A and then 9B are the funeral type things. And I think I told Robin, I mean, I do Wreaths Across America and, you know, while we're down there at Otis, or in Bourne,
Yeah.
as before everybody heads out, the guys go, and don't forget, we need volunteers on January
Yeah.
16th to pick this stuff all up. It's like, oh, yeah. And it
Yep.
ends up being their
Now, the
staff.
holiday things, should we give them a time, like if it's a Christmas, you want to decorate, you can go from,
Oh, you have Amy's letter?
Amy's.
Amy wrote something, where is that? About things being picked up.
Oh, Amy
not left.
Uzowski, yeah.
Yeah,
So Amy just wrote a letter. I just wanted to let you know that as the conservation administrator, I am in support of removal of holiday decorations by January 31st each year from the cemeteries for environmental reasons.
Right.
Many of our town cemeteries have abutting sensitive wetland resource areas and other natural environments. Materials are not being picked up intended to find their way into these natural areas. I am fully support and appreciate that people want to place items for holiday, but agree that they should be picked up in a timely manner. If only as decorations don't become debris and then contribute to the degradation of our natural resources.
right, so I bring that up because I think that's a good foundation
Right.
to say, you know, okay, look, we
Right.
can celebrate this,
should we
you
give
know,
them like
or
a
more.
time frame, like they can put decorations out from December 1st to January
Well,
31st?
they do Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is usually the weekend where most
The Christmas.
Christmas stuff goes
Christmas.
up.
Yeah.
But if
they
we give them a
come
time frame
down
that they
for the
can
weekend.
operate in,
Yeah,
instead of, it sounds a little more friendly, I guess.
Yeah,
give
well, I
them-
mean, all decorations will be removed by, I mean, I think
But-
February 1st is too long myself.
so January 31st is, I think, what Dennis does.
Okay, well. there
And
you
I
go.
think, or Yarmouth, one of our towns close to us actually has an exact date. I'm pretty sure.
But if
Well,
we
then-
had, excuse me,
Yeah, I'm sorry, no,
all holiday decorations should be removed within 30 days.
Oh, no, actually, it's February 1st is Yarmouth.
well, but then you'd miss with the Thanksgiving. If they put Christmas decorations down because they're up visiting for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, 30 days is,
30 days
Is-
after the holiday.
oh, after the
There
holiday.
we go.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yes.
Wouldn't that
30
cover
days,
the-
so we wrote, temporary displays of celebrations of holiday, anniversary, birthdays, or other special occasions shall be removed within 30 days after
Okay, perfect.
and removed to the maintenance department. The other thing is, we cannot have balloons. The balloons go into the environment and they are, so
Absolutely.
I don't know that we have that specifically,
That
but I
should-
want that in there.
That should be like
Well-
with number 12, I think it is here, the fences, borders, et cetera, and all that.
Oh, you
The
think-
things that are not allowed,
Okay,
have one,
Oh, yeah, see, that's
section
struck
made to
down
it.
completely.
all right, so are we good with this one? So we're gonna divide this into two, so the next time we come, I'll have it in two groups.
Okay,
And then we'll rehash this one section to make sure that we have it exactly how you like it. So then, the town of Harwich is not liable for anything left on the graves, because 9 times out of 10,
Yeah.
people will come here in March and say, my holiday things were removed and now you owe me for
yeah.
a basket. But we're not liable for that.
No.
I mean, we don't know, people, I know that one of my friends had put 2 huge mums on either side of her husband's thing, and somebody took the whole pots. They took the
Yeah.
whole thing with them. And she goes up every other day,
Yeah,
and they were gone. So we're not liable for anything
Right.
that's taken. We hoped nobody would do that ever again, and I don't know who took it, but that was not okay.
that does happen, yeah.
Okay, so annuals, perennials, flowers must be planted at the base of a monument or marker so that not interfere with maintenance department
yeah, and I
procedures.
think, I'd have to go back and look at the July minutes, but I think Jim or Link brought that up, that if
Yeah.
it's too far out,
Yeah,
it messes with their ability
Yeah.
to
get
cut
the
and
most.
or
Right.
trim or.
Yeah, they can't weed whack in between.
I can find what he said,
Yeah,
I said
yeah.
it, but,
Yeah.
so I think we're within a
We
good
should put
grounds
a,
to say that.
it should be either within 10 or 12 inches of the front of the stone, and it can't exceed that.
I think 12 is too far.
Too far.
Don't you think?
Well, you get, if they
At
plant a
the-
mum,
at the
the
base.
mum can get about that big.
No, yeah, at the base.
Yeah,
Right, but the
And that-
actual planting should be like no more than 10, maybe 10 inches from the base.
Yeah, if you plant something within that 10th, it's gonna spill over.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we say 12, it's gonna be
Even more.
even more, so we gotta
Yeah.
cut it out at some point. No, you wanna
With
say
the
a
plant-
foot?
with-
well, no, it's just that, you know, if you're too specific, then
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the
but
plantings
if
are,
it's approximately, you know, 'cause
Approximately what?
somebody comes out
Say
there and goes, I'm
approximately-
sorry, you planted
foot.
that.
Well, if a foot, let's be like a piece of paper coming around. Yeah, that might not be too bad.
That's
if it's-
yeah, it's 11 inches right there, so it's,
Yeah, approximately
No more than a foot?
no more than a foot of the actual planting. I mean, the top will flop over a little bit.
Right.
right. The base of all plantings shall be
Yeah.
within,
A foot of the headstone,
Okay.
or markers or whatever.
All right.
But do we want them planting bushes and stuff around flat?
see, now, I think bushes fall under
A whole nother entity.
Yeah,
8, no, 8. Work performed on graves or lots of, that is a major item that I think,
shrubs, trees,
because
or
some people
bushes.
go, oh yeah, he loved azaleas, and they plant this azalea, and in
Yeah.
10 years, it's
It's
huge.
azalea.
it's huge,
Yeah,
And it's like the yews at my family's lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that at least gives us the opportunity to counsel, not a really good choice.
Of shrub.
because it's- Are you gonna promise to maintain this forever? You know, you live in Virginia, that's not gonna happen. It's-
And we could work on rewording all this and revisit all this at the next meeting and see
Right.
how it all sounds.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
yeah.
Okay, so number 10, we cut out a lot of it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
number 10, based on a carryover from Amy's email
Yeah,
and your comment about balloons, especially the Mylar variety.
yeah,
Right,
I mean, I think we could stand to have an environmental impact,
statement in the,
you know? What are we calling them, mourners, you know, family members who elect to decorate or whatever with with the exception of natural plantings or, flowers that are left behind, must be mindful of the environmental consequences of this.
Get blown away.
Should it become debris,
Yeah.
environmental debris, such as mylar balloons, which are extremely hazardous to wildlife and degrade over centuries.
Plastic flowers, that kind of, or the berries, because the birds may eat the berries.
So there are,
Well,
so
well,
one of
so-
the, so
so-
one of the birds did die from eating, and that's what sparked Amy's letter. From eating, some of the fake flowers actually look like they have berries in them.
Well, what's a
Me too.
favorite fall decoration?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
bittersweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful in
Yeah.
a decoration, but it's clearly on our invasive
Yeah.
species list.
Yeah.
So you plant the little bittersweet berries, we
Oh,
just
yeah.
undid all of AmeriCorps' work at
That's
Island
true.
Pond.
That's true.
Yeah.
How about if we start that, number, or whatever you wanna call it, start that off by no mylar balloons are allowed, and this is why. Something like that, so it really draws attention to, balloons especially, but this is why, and then that leads into the environmental, consequences.
Okay.
I actually was in Evergreen when they had a birthday party with lots of balloons for a young person that had passed.
Yeah.
But I have to say, they had the balloons tied different places, and when they left, all the balloons went with them,
Hmm.
which was really nice. I
Yeah.
think they left some small little happy birthday thing, but, I mean, they even had cake and everything, which, it's individual's choice. I thought it was kind of nice,
Yeah.
but they took everything with them when they left,
Right.
which was very responsible.
I know, but I went down to Island Pond to look for the Japanese knotweed to make sure that had been done.
Yeah.
And just driving through there's probably like 6 or 7 different places that currently have those mylar balloons there, which I'm like,
They should be
don't want
outlawed.
those, don't want those. Because there's so many beautiful flowers there. I mean, you could bring a nice flower arrangement, so.
Speaking of that, so those usually relatively recent burials.
Yes.
Do you have a point of contact when they do this, that we could have a form?
Yeah.
Because I think we're all on the same page,
Yeah.
that we want to be the kinder, gentler
Yes.
Right.
cemetery commission, because mourning is a terrible thing to go through.
Correct.
Right.
But a way that we could, hey, we appreciate what you're doing there, but,
Maybe we should,
But-
we should work on a letter, like almost like a form one that we could
Yeah,
use.
I think we sort of did that one time,
oh, really? Huh.
but I think that would be good, because
Yeah.
there are lots that, have extreme things on them.
Right.
And, maybe whoever put them there didn't see the
Right.
copy of the rules and regulations, and just gently say, I'm sorry to say, I know this means a lot to you, but these are not allowed.
And, and I think we all ought to be contactable
Yeah.
via that form.
Yeah,
I mean, however they feel comfortable doing it, as opposed to of course, we'll have to put up with the internet muscles, like, I'm gonna write you this
Yeah.
nasty email.
yeah,
No, give me a call and I'll explain it to you.
yeah.
and
Because
I'll meet with
we
you.
just
Yeah.
don't want it, yeah, because what happens is then it becomes unsightly eventually, and then we get a storm, and then it blows off into the
Yeah.
conservation, and then Amy's picking up. So, just want that.
Mm.
Okay. So number 11. Did we finish 10?
No, because we just.
Well,
Okay.
it has to be, we need some
Right.
verbiage for that, and we may not come up with that right now. Maybe
Okay.
Yeah,
we
we
need some
could revisit that.
proposals.
We
Yeah, I
can
think-
rehash that and think about that, or how we would maybe come up with a better
I mean,
idea.
are you, Robin, are you comfortable with our views on that?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
maybe come up with a,
Yeah. So the next time, what I'll do is I'll take this,
Mhm.
and I'll add our new ones, I'll put them in another new color. Our additions, so that way we can go through it.
And 11 is any bench or structure needs prior approval by the cemetery commission.
Before installing. So people were just throwing garden benches kind of on their lots, and there's a whole bunch of those in the cemetery, which, first, they're not structurally
Yeah.
great, some of them, and if somebody sits on them, they're gonna be hurt.
And we should probably have it see section 4, markers, headstones, and monuments, or
Okay.
what's allowed to be on the site.
Yeah. Section what? 4?
Isn't it section 4, markers?
A marker set
headstones,
says monuments. But that doesn't,
So a bench can either be your headstone or it can be your monument. It can be, so in bigger lots, depending how big the lot is, you can have more than one, but most people now are using benches as their, kind of like their headstone.
The monument.
So if they have a 4-grave lot, they're putting the bench right in the middle, putting the family name on it, and then they're just getting 4 flat markers. First, it's a lot less expensive, and when they come, they can sit.
Right.
So a lot of people like them. So we have done more and more benches in the past years. But I think some people will again get the upright memorial, and then they're like, well, you know, I really want a bench on my lot. So now then they want to add a bench,
Yeah.
and they've already used up all their space. We can't just have
A bunch of things.
a bench and then a headstone. There's no way for the guys to mow in between there. It's just too tight. So we have to make sure that they come and.
where is our prohibited list? Where do we,
Well, that was 10.
it was,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'm on the wrong 10 then.
So it was any bench or structures need prior. It was 10, is 11, but number 10 was fences,
Oh,
borders,
yeah,
curbing.
crushed stone fences, borders, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Should that, maybe that should be its own,
But if it's a big multi-lot thing, you could probably have a headstone in the middle and put a bench on either one of the 2
Right.
outer ones where there's space to do
well, I'm
so.
thinking of the fences,
Right. We don't want fence at all.
right?
They're hard to go
Well,
around.
Yeah, no fencing.
Well, all right, so let me just, what if? Let's say this family puts together space over an evergreen.
Yeah.
And they want 20 by 20,
Yeah.
okay? And they want the 1800s markers, metal pipes, and the center Nickerson monument in the center.
Not picking
Yeah.
on the Nickerson family.
Well,
He is. I'm
by
just
by
saying that-
marriage, I'm a Nickerson.
He's
you know,
right,
so-
he's-
And a Harding and an Eldridge and a, yeah, so, yeah.
We're
so-
related, bro.
Yeah, well, to my wife, yes. She-
Nickerson's too, yeah.
So, so you see what I'm saying? Do we-
Right.
And I always just get afraid with rules that we bind ourselves and then have to
So,
go,
so
but.
our old lots that do have those are very hard to maintain.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So they, when Paul Doan was on the commission, he was the one who said, we're not doing those anymore because they can't get around them. So most cemeteries, you can't get that anymore.
Okay.
So if you had an old existing lot that had it, it can still stay, but they don't allow it for newer lots. And I think we should not allow it.
Well,
I mean, they can have corner markers, and they can make those.
Well, those are flush.
Yeah,
Mowers go right
mow-
over that,
yeah.
or should be.
Yeah, so those ones are can, do the outline of your lot, which a lot of people do that.
Mhm.
But I don't think we should do borders or fences. It's just a maintenance nightmare. We wouldn't be able to. The guys would be in there. They can't do what they have to do now. They would be something else. They have to go around, and I just don't think it's a good idea.
Should we change the any bench or structure needs to prior approval? Because we really don't want them putting benches on. A bench is only allowed as a monument?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Should we change that?
We could just take it out, and that it's under headstones, markers, monuments. It should be, or benches should be in here maybe.
Yeah,
So under 5, monument, comma, benches, curbing or other structures, curbing should be taken out too. Take out curbing and put benches.
yeah, just somehow, so it's it's known that benches are only as a monument.
All right, so we're taking it completely out.
Yeah, your number 6 is a marble or granite bench shall be allowed on a lot as
okay.
the only permanent central inscribed memorial. Therefore, both the monument and bench are not permitted
Perfect.
unless you buy a 20 lot thing. Then you could put a monument and you could put a bench on one side or the other.
Yeah, those people that have the big Celtic cross in, Evergreen bought 2 lots, side by side. One has a bench and one has a Celtic cross.
Yeah.
So they did like 16 lots or something like that. Anyways, so we're taking out, on number 11, we're taking out that whole thing. We're just doing masons,
Yeah.
stone cutters, and all workers shall at all times be under the control of the cemetery commission to carry out all their, yes.
Rubbish and restore roads, avenues, and paths damaged by their operations.
Right, so when they put in their foundation, because before they would leave stuff, so we put that in so they would not leave anything there. Okay, and then the Town of Harwich Cemetery Commission reserves the right to correct any errors made in any description, transfer, or conveyance, or property. And so we do this because I remember when I was on vacation and we sold that lot, and the guys gave me the deed information for the woman who was on vacation. That was the whole debacle with,
The wrong one, yeah.
so they gave me the wrong new lot number, so I have to redo her deed. I just found that out yesterday, so I'm gonna retype her deed with her regular lot number. It was just, instead of a 5, it should be a 7. And so instead of 345, it's 347. So I have to change her deed. So that's what that is, and I think all the cemetery rules and regulations for all the towns have this in there, so
Yep.
I think we need to keep that, because mistakes do happen. So, what's our time right now?
It's
Quarter of 11.
Do we wanna,
We still got,
I know we still have to go through the rest of this packet, though.
yeah,
Well, we don't wanna burn out doing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why don't we finish here? And then I'll do those new ones. We'll put it in for our next meeting, and then we'll continue with the, because we're almost finished.
yeah.
Right,
We do,
it's good to get that much done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we had Amy's, and then most of this is, actually rules and regulations. All right, so.
Young and Fancies.
So Young and Fancy Signs, they are installing the Union Cemetery sign. I think yesterday they installed it. I mean, she gave it to the guy. He was supposed to install it 2 weeks ago, but his appendix ruptured. And he was taking it for emergency surgery. So he could not install it. So I think he either installed it yesterday or it's today. But he'll be sending his bill, but he has the sign. So in our bills for this month, we have 4 bills. Young and Fancy Signs, which was the $4,720, which was for the sign for the Union Cemetery. Then we have 2 John Canto bills. One was the $750 for the culvert basin repair that was at the end of one of the roads when he was there. Him and Chris Nickerson came up to me and said, they're ending it here, and it needs to go all the way around where the basin is, because it's only gonna flood down there, so we added that for $750, and then we did Cranberry Lane, which was the $3,000, and then the Blue Flax design, which is the Not We People, that was $1,117.50.
What was the blue thing? Oh.
They
sorry,
do
that
the invasive species removal, and I still haven't done my mileage, but I promise I'll do that next time. So I haven't done my mileage in so long, I can't remember. So those are the bills. Just, you got a need for.
I need a pen.
And then we have one deed, which is from Mr. Duke. He bought additional grave space.
You need the blue pen, right?
one. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Did you figure out which one, of the meetings you wanted to?
The minutes.
Minutes, yeah.
I actually do have just 2 quick, maybe it's other business things.
All right, hold on, I need a pen.
Wrap that up.
You have a regular pen?
Want a pen?
Yeah. Just in case. New business?
Well, it's not really new business, it's
Okay.
questions, but there's no other place to really throw
Okay.
it, if that matter. Shoot, boss?
Yeah.
All right, so, when we get to the veterans' flags and it's all up and running, who is responsible for these flags, such as half-staff operations?
So that is the DPW, and they do all the half-staff for the entire town. So they have
Okay.
a list of all the flags, and then they will go around and they will put them at half-staff.
Okay, good.
So that is done through the DPW.
That's it?
We need
Sorry,
a pen so
Steve.
we can start this again.
All
That
right,
one
and
was
then
easy.
The other question I have is, sorry, my Siri and my Siri and my hearing aids go crazy. She's always talking in my head.
Do we have to sign this?
For the Veterans Memorial, and we explored a Gold Star family wall, so I mean, that will be fortunately, a smaller monument,
Right,
but it should be expandable,
okay.
so those are families, so that would be listing the family and/or the service member who
Okay.
dies in conflict, I believe. I mean, I'd have to reach out to the Gold Star Mothers
Sure.
Organization.
Did you sign the other side?
So, I mean, I would
And
like to have that
I- Should be calling
explored
you
as
back.
a
Okay. So we-
potential addition.
And we have been, I have been compiling the list of those. So we do have quite a few veterans that are buried, I know, in Island Pond alone, that
Mhm.
died in conflict. We have 2 of them who died storming the beach. And so they are actually buried over at, no, that's just a copy. We had them, they're buried in France, but they are, oh, that one's fine. They're buried in France, but they have memorials here. And then Richard Rogers, he died in Vietnam. So I know of some service members who died. Would have to check with,
Could I reach out on our behalf to the Gold Star
Oh, yeah.
organization? And
Yes,
just
please.
see
Definitely.
what resources they have, so
right,
they may have a database or.
right, oh, that would be.
And what would qualify? I mean, they're very
Yeah, that's-
specific.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I have a Blue Star flag on my car, but I ran it through and made sure that
Right.
it met the rules. It's
Yeah,
not
so
just
one of
some
the
willy-nilly.
girls who sits on the New England board with me, her son died in this past recent conflict, so she is a Gold Star mother. So she's been to Washington DC, I think twice now. So she does a lot of public speaking.
Mhm. Well, maybe at a later date, that would be the,
Yeah,
I mean, it's the one law you never want to be on. but
Right.
it's-
yeah.
But I
I'm
think
sure-
it would be nice to have,
Recognition,
since, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where we would do it, or a section along the
Oh.
Remembrance
yeah,
Trail,
all right.
but it has to be expandable, it just can't be a one and done like the Civil
Cindy?
War or something.
Did you find your little section?
Oh, yeah.
This part? For the CPC article, was that the question on it?
It might have been.
Which minutes are we in?
The
July?
July 1.
Oh, gosh.
This talks about the CPC article. Pine Grove.
And it had to do with Union Cemetery?
Yeah,
I don't know where it is, I'd have to look back on them, thanks.
Cemetery.
It's not a big deal, I wouldn't worry about it.
okay. So are we anybody making a motion to
To
approve?
accept the,
I was gonna see if I could search it, but it won't let me do that on my phone. Yeah.
do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 8th and July 13th?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Cindy?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
questions?
That we approve them.
Okay,
Sorry.
all in favor?
I
Who seconded?
I second it. I was waiting for her to.
get my mouth
Yeah.
going.
Oh, it's nice when I always get to email them to Anita.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Oh, wait, are we gonna have another meeting? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So this would be a regular meeting as opposed to a rule-specific meeting?
No, I think it's gonna be, it'll be a regular, we could do like a half, we might be able to stick in a couple other things if we had them like deeds, but it'll mostly be rules and regulations, I think.
Well,
Oh,
then-
and it could be the two CPC articles, which I have to submit by October 1st.
Then why don't we, the wife and I are gonna try to go away camping next weekend, because all
I'm,
our family is going.
I'm away from the 15th to the
So
22nd.
why don't we just do the regular October meeting?
Or what if you, but we were trying to beat the October first.
You wanna
Yeah.
meet on the 28th? Just to go
Um,
over stuff to be ready for the CPC thing?
Tuesday, the 28th. Would that be enough time for you?
Yep.
Or should we go the week prior?
I'll just get back on the 22nd.
Oh, so we can't do the week prior. All
Yeah.
right, so, I mean, I'm fine with Tuesday, the 28th. I mean, it doesn't have to be a
A long one.
It will be-
Tuesday, does it? I mean, if we advertise, but.
No, we can do a different day if we had to, but, so I'll look and see if this room's available. And then
I'll check the calendar at home and see
okay,
what's on
and you,
that.
everybody check, and then get back to me.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that way I'll try to have all the, CPC articles all finished. I'm gonna try to get most of this stuff done this week, cause next week will come quick. All right, so,
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Temporarily
this portion
adjourn?
of this meeting?
So moved.
what's the time?
It
It is 10:48,
Okay.
10:54.
Okay.
54.
And, all right, I will,
And we're gonna go down to,
yeah, I'm gonna give her a call real quick. I gotta get my phone.
because it says here just toward Mount Pleasant, okay, I will just do
Yeah.
that one.